Inauguration Day 2020. Goodbye, President Donald Trump. Hello, Joseph R. Biden and Kamala Harris, the very first female vice president who is not just female, but African American and Asian American. Congratulations. I hope you mean every word that you said today during your inauguration, placing your hand on the Bible and swearing an oath to uphold the Constitution and to defend this country against enemies, foreign and domestic. I hope we all mean this, and I believe that humans have this unerring spirit. Even though we can pit ourselves against each other because of narratives that are thrust upon us, that tickle our amygdala and make us feel we need to become tribal and push against our brothers and sisters, I believe there's that X factor inside humanity that constantly causes us to want to quell any kind of conflict and surmount any kind of obstacle. So what can we expect under a Joseph Biden administration? Higher taxes, we've heard that. The potential for a universal basic income, we've heard that. Higher minimum wage, we've heard that. Higher focus on COVID-19, 2 masks per every person. I'll show you a video that is actually showing how that's supposedly so much more safe and effective. I'll also show you video from somebody showing the carbon dioxide inside of us as we are breathing through a mask that reaches unsafe levels. I am going to kind of be talking about vaccines, but I'm not going to go too deep here. I'll have to leave that for the deeper dive, which you will now find on Patreon for the patrons. Remember, smash that like button, comment below, that really helps. Subscribe, share this video out, that's the absolute best thing you can do, and get ready for a deep dive right here on Waking Infinity News.
Democracy has prevailed. So now, on this hallowed ground where just a few days ago, violence sought to shake the Capitol's very foundation, we come together as one nation, under God, indivisible, to carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have for more than 2 centuries. I've just taken the sacred oath each of those patriots have taken. The oath first sworn by George Washington. But the American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we the people who seek a more perfect union. This is a great nation. We are good people. And over the centuries, through storm and strife, in peace and in war, we've come so far. But we still have far to go. We'll press forward with speed and urgency, for we have much to do in this winter of peril and significant possibilities.
That was the inauguration of our 46th president, Joseph R. Biden. He said we're in a winter of peril and significant possibilities. If you go back to my last episode, you'll see that this is actually a time that is considered a great winter, and that's a very important phrase. We know that these presidents don't write their own scripts, but he did a pretty good job speaking about unity, speaking about I will fight for you regardless of whether you voted for me or not. We need to quell all of these fears. I hope that he means that, and I hope he actually has the wherewithal to actually get something like that done. Here's the thing. Presidents throughout history, they give their word, they say very, very prominent things, especially on Inauguration Day, and very few of them either have the willpower or ever meant it in the first place to be able to bring these types of hopes and dreams into fruition. The political edifice is a machine. It's very hard to change. Donald Trump was the first true outsider that came in, and I do believe he had ideas of change. I do believe he was not trying to divide this country more. However, he really did push this whole populism game. Now we have populism as a cornerstone of mainstream media. CNN, their ratings only stuck around, and possibly even Twitter, they probably only stuck around because of a unification of hate for Donald Trump. I believe that is the worst thing we can do, is unify around our common hate of anyone. If you give the mainstream media the right to tell you how and when and towards whom you should hold hate in your heart, then you are the problem. It is not a leader. It is not some external force. It is you buying hook, line, and sinker a narrative that tells you hate is the tool for this next administration. So I am not going to follow that same logic. I am going to say, let's see what Joseph R. Biden has to offer this country. However, let's never get lost in the rhetoric that some external force is going to make this country great or bring unity to the people. We, the people, are the only ones that have ever had that power, and it is only us that can actually decide, I no longer wish to push back against my brothers and sisters. I want to see unity, but I do not believe Joseph Biden. I don't believe Donald Trump. I don't believe the Q conspiracies or the left conspiracies that believe that Donald Trump was trying to stage some insurrection with the My Pillow guy. There's all these theories that are there to get you to be super scared of what's coming so you can watch more news and keep the ratings going. Never put it past mainstream media to say something to cause you to feel, I don't know, why are there 25,000 troops? Maybe some kind of war is coming. And yes, in the very last episode, I did say we are entering a crisis period. It's called the fourth turning. It is the winter crisis period. Every 90 years, we have had war. If you go back through Anglo-Saxon history, you will find that there is major war every 80 to 90 years. Let's make this different. So, I don't want to go too much farther. As you know, there's a lot going on in D.C. today. I'm going to hop off that and tell you about a couple things going on in the world that might interest you. During the January 6th Capitol siege, there was a man named Christopher Stanton Georgia, 53 years old. His wife, his family, even his neighbors said he was a very happy, professional man, very nice, would help anyone who asked for help. He loved cutting his grass. He loved going out and tending to his lawn. Okay, this is all just the base level ideas of who this man really was. But his wife, 3 days after that Capitol siege, found him in the basement, shot to death in an attempted or in an apparent suicide. What was the weapon? A hunting rifle. Okay, a hunting rifle. You gotta really, really want to kill yourself with a hunting rifle, especially in the chest. It might be super easier to do it through the head. And I'm sorry to get so gruesome, but this is quite weird. I don't know, and I've actually read the stories of how people have committed suicide in the past. There are some weird ways, so I wouldn't put it past somebody to commit suicide with a hunting rifle. There are some people, and I haven't been able to verify as much as I have really tried, Google, DuckDuckGo, every search engine, even asking my friends who scan the dark web, can you find actual corroboration that he was shot several times through the chest with a hunting rifle, as some sources say? I can't get any word on that. But he apparently committed suicide with a hunting rifle, shot himself through the chest. Another interesting thing is there's a lot of people saying this guy had Nancy Pelosi's hard drive with a lot of sensitive information. I did my best. I tried to search for the actual answer, but this could be fake news. I have to say that. I don't know if that's actually true, because every source that I looked at, no one had any real data on that. They're just repeating that narrative, and this is how rumors get started. So I don't want to spread that. I do want to show you that this is one of those theories that are abounding. So, moving on. In Germany, the U.S. Sun basically said that Germany said if you violate their COVID-19 quarantine regulations, you can be placed inside a detention camp. This is actual news. So the interesting thing about that is many people are saying, hasn't Germany learned their lessons? 90 years ago during the last winter crisis period in this seasonal history called the saeculum, every 90 years, a long life span, there seems to be these crisis periods, always marked by war. But 90 years ago, if you go back to Nazi Germany, Germany had detention centers. Did they not learn their lesson? This is narrative. It is rhetoric. To be super scared of a virus is understandable. Of a pandemic, it's completely understandable. But to not be allowed to question the narrative or how dangerous it actually is more dangerous. In other news, President Donald Trump on his last day in office, a day historic for pardons, presidential pardons, he was told, I believe by Mitch McConnell, he was threatened, it sounds like, we will convict you in your impeachment if you pardon Julian Assange. So guess what? 100 names or so. Lil Wayne was on that pardon list, but no Julian Assange. A lot of people were very upset by this. You could have been the most badass president in history had you done it. Well, we don't know the full extent as to why he didn't, what was being held over his head. But we do have a new administration. Many people say, look, the swamp is back. Many people believe the swamp never left. And whether Trump was in on it or was just a patsy so he could be blamed for all the crap that happened, many people are not looking high enough. They look at the president, they think that the president has all this power. They look at the administration and all the puppets out front, and they say, oh, these people have the power. And they refuse to look at places like Davos. They refuse to look at the World Economic Forum, and they refuse to look at agendas that have been in place for 10, nearly 20 years. Everything is going according to plan if you look at those agendas. So here's that news I promised you about double masking.
Experts warn it's time to double down, as in time to start wearing a double mask. President-elect Joe Biden does it. Mitt Romney double masked during the Capitol insurrection. Tom Cruise also double masks.
It essentially blocks between 90 and 95% of all viral particles.
Infectious disease specialist Dr. Monica Gandhi shows us the simple steps you can take.
Actually putting the cloth mask first and then putting the surgical mask on top of it. All the electrostatic repulsion from here and then like different fibers going different ways, you've just made this an N95 right here.
And here's how safe just wearing one mask might be if you believe this guy in the literature he's reading.
So the level reads, there's 9,900 and something parts per million. If I actually look at the chart here, which tells you what's safe and what's not, the highest level the chart goes to is between 2,000 and 5,000 parts per million. The stagnant and the old and muggy air, the phenomena of headache, drowsiness with distraction, declination of attention, tachycardia and slight nausea. Above 5,000 may cause serious anoxia or lead to perpetual cerebral injury, coma or even death. So actually, by having the mask on, it looks like you're virtually just killing yourself. You've got more chance of dying with a mask on than actually outside breathing fresh air and negating that your own body will be able to negate the so-called COVID virus.
So if you double mask, I wonder if that doubles the amount of carbon dioxide, basically putting the amount to 4 times the highest level that even that chart shows you could cause death. I'm not going to go too much deeper here. There are things I want to say about the vaccines that I am not going to say here because of YouTube, and I'm going to respect that they have their algorithms. It's their audience, it's their platform. I don't agree with most of the ways they do their editorial picking, even though they will say they are just a neutral platform. They're not. They're editorial. They choose what they believe is true, false, and they make editorial choices based upon, is it left-leaning, is it right-leaning? They've fallen into that bipartisan swamp, unfortunately. So I am going to move all of my comments about this vaccine, if you can even call it that, which many are saying, it's not a vaccine. And I'm going to put that on Patreon for patrons only. This is not only to protect this information, but to also give a proper energy exchange. If I believe it is something that you guys absolutely need to hear, I will make it free and in front of the paywall. But if it's something that I believe that you guys can find anywhere, so just type in Moderna. I'll leave a link below. You can check in on all this stuff. But if you want to hear my deeper dive take, you need to become a patron on Patreon and really help me bring this to you more often, because I want to do this 3 times a week coming up very soon for all of you. And I am now a one-man band. I'm doing everything from start to finish. So if you guys appreciate that, donate. Information's below. But the best thing you can do is really share this across as many platforms as possible, and keep emailing me, ben@benjosephstewart.com. I really appreciate all you guys' thoughts. If I'm slow to getting back to you, it's really because I have a lot of work on my plate. I want to say thank you guys for everything that you're doing, all the support you're giving. Let's calm down. Let's find a way through what's happening right now, and let's be critical thinkers, not simply followers of the mainstream narrative. I want to thank you guys again, and I'll catch you all next time on Waking Infinity News.